Hey everybody, it's Dr. Mark. How y'all doing? I hope you're all hanging in there with COVID and staying safe and making sure you are taking good care of yourselves. And we're going to talk today with my incredible life coach, my best friend who keeps me straight when I'm off track. Wait a minute, here she comes. Here she comes. We're going to talk about Lauren, so hang on while she joins. And we're so excited to actually have this opportunity to talk about what is often difficult to deal with is our minds. Hey, Lauren, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's so good to be
Oh,
here. Hi,
good to
Mark.
see you too. I was just introducing you to my community. We've got about 600 people and growing already in the first minute. Uh, and I'm so excited. We're both in our respective homes. I'm up in the Berkshires. I'm working on my next book. And I'm also working on my mind because it screws me over, which is the polite way of saying what Lauren actually says most of the time. And I'm so excited to have you all listening because this is the first part of a 3-part series that we're doing live over the next 2 months with my coach and my best friend, Lauren Zander, right there. We're talking about how to have a healthy mindset. It's now more
Yeah.
important than ever, particularly given what's happening with the craziness in the world and how do we deal with it and how does our mind screw us over to make us unhappy, miserable, and unhealthy. And it screws up so many areas of our life. If we got our mind straight, our life would straighten out too. She's sort of like my spiritual, emotional chiropractor. When things get out of joint, I call Lauren and she knocks them back in. So, I talk a lot about a healthy brain, but a healthy mind is something else entirely. And Lauren has been coaching people for decades and decades on how to stop letting their mind, and put it more directly than Lauren does, screw them over. So my mind is like everybody else's, unfortunately. I'm not immune to the effects of my crazy mind and all the stupid things it tells me, which most of which are not true, but I believe anyway. And we're going to talk about sleep and how I screw myself over about sleep in a minute. But we really have to understand how the mind works, because if we don't, we really can't get to our fullest life. And that's what Lauren's work is, and the Hendel Group is, and their amazing course, Inner You, which basically puts Lauren in a box, take her home with you, and you get all the benefits of working with her without actually having to pay the high levels of fees for one-on-one coaching, but you get this incredible result. So, I've had trouble with sleep for years, and I'm a doctor, I know, and I write about sleep and I talk about it, but like everybody else, I get in trouble too. And I've had trouble over the last few months with COVID-19, particularly sleeping. So Laura and I are actually working on this. I finally broke down and begged her the other day to help me because I realized that I was getting in my own way. And it's interesting, just by working with her, just over the last week or so, I've noticed such a big difference in the way I notice what my own mind says to me that screws me over, and I'm trying not to pay attention to it. So, so Lauren, how do you coach people? First of all, when they're having trouble sleeping, where do you start?
I always, there's nothing I want to do unless I know your vision for yourself, right? So I always start with what is your ideal? What's your dream? What's your vision? What do you think you should be happening, right? Like how much money, like if it's money, it's what do you think you should be earning, right? So I always start with where we're going. So I know where we really are and how far we have to go to get there.
Wow. Okay, good. All right. So my vision is I want to sleep like a baby, wake up refreshed, not have to take any pills, and be fully engaged and happy in life.
That's right.
But here's the deal with my sleep. I used to be able to sleep like a baby. I could literally, I remember, traveling around the country, I would literally lay my backpack down in a parking lot. On my backpack, I would put my head as a pillow, and I would just fall asleep on the concrete. And I'd sleep like solid 8 hours, feel great. And now I'm like the princess and the pea, and the lights got to be perfect. I got my earplugs, my eye shades, got to take my magnesium, my supplements. It's like, it's a whole project. And it all started when I started working in the emergency room, 5 different shifts, not really sleeping well, got mercury poisoning, which screws your sleep, got chronic fatigue. And I went through this whole cycle. And once I started fixing all the stuff that was wrong, the sleep stuff still, I think physiologically was better, but mentally I didn't really tackle it effectively.
That's right.
And so I have a whole narrative about it and why I need to do this and take that. And and I worry about what's going to happen the next day, and then I start ruminating about things in the middle of the night, and I like wake up and I worry I can't fall back to sleep, or at night I dread going to bed because what if I can't fall asleep, and then what's the day going to be like tomorrow? And I go through this whole BS in my head. It just kind of makes me feel terrible. So I really want to break that cycle because I feel like I've conquered most other hurdles in life. I've fit and healthy. I know what to eat. I know basically the way to live a long time, but the sleep thing is still a puzzle for me. So Lauren, how are we working on this?
So first of all, you have to be willing to figure out you're the problem. And that what you're saying in that head of yours is more than enough to screw up everything else, right? So there has to be the buck stops with you. Because if you really think, well, maybe it's my age, really, it could be this, it could be that, it's the light, it's the, right? Like the way the world can explain why they are having a problem is because of, and then make your list. So the first thing you have to be willing to figure out is you're not a victim. This isn't screwing with you, happening to you, and not anything to do with you. It has everything to do with you. And if you were thinking differently and relating to it all differently, would it all then change? And my answer to you is yes. That doesn't mean it's going to happen like this, but we can figure it out. We can reverse this fortune. And then the next thing I need to have you do is realize that is the end of popping pills. Right. Yeah. We're not right. So we're going to deal with the real issue and we're going to figure it out.
Well, I mean, I think the issues for me as I realized over the last sort of week or two has been mental. Like it's the narrative I tell myself, and I actually didn't distinguish that I was letting myself talk myself into having shitty sleep. And I lately have been like waking up at 5 instead of going, oh, fuck, excuse me, I'm not going to be able to go back to sleep. And I'm going to be tired, and I won't be able to work on my book, and I'm going to be in a grumpy mood. And I'm like, no, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to just put myself back to sleep. And so I put myself back to sleep every morning, which I never thought I could do by just telling that idiot to shut up and think of something else. And, you gave me a little exercise to do, which really worked. And, it's pretty wild. Like, I just feel like it's easier than I thought.
So for those of you who don't have sleep issues, you don't have to go, well, then this doesn't have anything to do with me, because it isn't the issue. It's not the sleep. It's the how you talk about yourself sleeping. It's not men in the world. It's how you talk about dating men in the world, right? Yeah. So so there's some part to you and this issue that you're having that you don't think you can have, something you don't think you can fix, something you don't think you're the source of the problem. You think you're having a problem. You're over 50 and it's hard to date. You're over 50, it's hard to change your career. You're over, like, the amount of, I'm only 25, how am I ever going to change, right? So everyone has how they talk about whatever it is, dating, love, body, moving, careers, and we create that the issue is outside of us. And I'm along for this terrible ride. I would never want to not sleep. Like, who would ever think that Mark would want to screw with his sleep? Yeah. That's impossible. So who wouldn't want to change careers even though they really want to, right? So because the answer to the question is, of course I'd want to change if it was possible, right? All of a sudden, it's like one of these, like, wait a minute, I wonder why I can't do this to myself, right? Because if I said it was me, then I'd have to go after what? If I wanted a real new job, what would I have to change about myself? So it just puts you in a predicament, right? Yeah,
it was interesting. Somebody posted that it's different between having a problem and realizing that you are the problem. Right? Yeah. I'm having sleep problems. Yeah. So I am the sleep problem.
Yeah, yes. And just in case anybody wants to know, Mark has tried every pill, every natural, everything. And the yo-yo of what happens in his life, because we've been dealing with this for a while, is his narrative, the way he talks about it, the way he doesn't deal with, like, there really is the emotional connection. It could have been he was on 5 different planes a week, right? Right. And he really was on 5 different planes a week. But the bad joke that's happening to Mark right now is really quite a
I'm stuck at
showstopper.
home in the same bed,
There
going to
is
bed at the same
no,
time.
like, he's got his blind, like, he got the, like, there's
I got a
nothing
chili
missing in
pad. I got
his
everything.
rich.
Right.
So, so now for the first time, he has to go, maybe it's me, in a way that he couldn't before, which was fair,
Yeah. I mean,
right? It
people
was
are writing
fair.
magnesium, melatonin. I've tried all of it. Like, and it helps, but it's really the thing that really screws me up is this thing. And what's so great about your Inner You course is that it creates a healthy relationship with the higher voice instead of
Yes.
the stupid voice that keeps
Yeah.
telling you all this stuff that's just not true. And that's what I've been listening to. And even though I've been working for like a decade, I just still don't always realize that, oh, maybe it's me. you know?
Yeah. No,
Like,
we never, and even, so the first thing that is the hardest thing for a human to do is to have an area you suffer. Could be your body, could be your career, could be money, could be your boss, could be your relationship with your kid. It could be anything. And we think because we mean well, we want the best, that therefore everything we're doing is the best we can do.
yeah.
That's lie number one.
Mm.
And then the next thing we hate doing, for some fakakta reason,
That's Yiddish,
it
which means screwed up reason.
screwed up fakakta reason, is we protect our negative inner dialogue. We protect it. So the hardest thing to get Mark to start to do is write down what the voice is saying to him, because he's a smart, fantastic guy. He couldn't possibly say something that stupid to himself and then believe it.
Well, someone
Right?
tell you
Like,
meditation is the key. I meditate once or twice every single day, and it still isn't the thing.
everyone, stop. He does all the right medical things. He eats all the right
I
food,
write
takes
books
all
about
the
it.
right, like, really, this is a job. And ever since he started trailing his negative inner dialogue with me, and trust me, I had to chase him a little,
Yeah,
because
it's true.
we don't want to say what the voice is saying. We don't want to figure out that at 11:30 in the afternoon, the voice in your head already said you're going to have a hard time sleeping tonight, because you really are. And then it starts telling you why your sleep is going to be screwed later. Right? And we don't think that we would ever do that to ourselves. We don't think we would go downstairs with a diet in mind and go into the refrigerator and explain that you're mad at your husband, which was why you deserve your kids' leftover macaroni and cheese. Right? Like, who just did that? Right? And are you going to come back and write that? Like, you're not going to believe what my inner dialogue said. It said, eat the mac and cheese, and blamed my husband.
Right. Yeah. Well, most
You
of us
mean,
don't really have
right?
the tools or the skills to actually tackle
It's
the
true.
monster in our head, and that's what's so powerful with the work that Handel Group does, and
Yes.
the Inner You is, because it's a method. It's not like some random idea, oh, just think differently. It's actually a process you go through to unravel it all and to relearn a different way of thinking and relating to your mind and your life. And if you don't get your mind straight, you can't get your life straight. And that's what I really think is so true. Whatever the issues are, and everybody's got different struggles, right? I mean, for me, it's sleep right now, but for others, it's relationships or their body or work or their career or money or whatever it is. And that's what's so fantastic about the Inner You course, which is you literally have a roadmap that I think most people are hunger for, but don't really know how to interact with. And so there's a lot of spiritual traditions out there. There's a lot of psychological support. There's a lot of, general approaches, but I've been through Buddhism. I've been through, yogic training. I've meditated for years and years. I've, done all kinds of therapy. I've, gone through all kinds of courses and groups and done men's work for 20 years, but this work with you is so different because it just cuts through all the BS and it doesn't let you get away with your shitty story.
Well, the thing that I think makes what I do very different, and it's a nuance, because I really do think everybody's chasing anything that anyone's chasing in the metaphysical field of being happy or better, right, is in the right vein.
Yeah.
Right. But the way we refuse to own our dark side as a true voice constantly yammering to us, and that it's not like it's because of my dad, right? Right, like it's not like this pity party, but it's a little more like you won't slaughter the calf you'll eat, and you'll expect it to be slaughtered and done right, but you will never really understand you're eating a dead animal you'd never kill, right? Like we're not so nice humans, right? We're like really meat eating, lying, cheating. Like we have all our dark sides, right? We do not tell the truth. No, we don't. We wish we did, not really, because then we'd get in trouble, right? So there's this dark side we have no sense of humor about and no willingness to truly own our dark side, which is our lower selves, right? Which is the voice that says you're already not going to be able to sleep tonight. It doesn't want to tell me what you really said to yourself, because then it's going to be embarrassed. It looked bad and looks like an idiot who didn't know he just did that, and he doesn't want to say he did that 42 times, right? Like we don't want to.
Sometimes it starts in the morning when I wake up. I'm like, oh, I never have a good night's sleep. Oh, am I going to be able to sleep tonight? Oh, I got to go there. Like I go through a whole baloney story in my head that now I think is funny, and I'm like, oh, that is not true. Or why did I think that? Or, it's like it's a very different relationship to that voice, right? Rather than
it was interesting. A bunch of years ago, when unemployment was high and the world was a bit of a mess, there was this man who couldn't get a job, who was an executive and couldn't get a job for like 2 years. And Business Week was like, let's see you get him a job. And I was like, and what did we find out? He was miserable. He was unhappy. He was eating crap.
Uh-oh, she's freezing.
Or that we're not really like, oh, I do the right thing. And like, really, let me start to watch what you're doing every day about it all. Right. And then we can figure out, it could be you're eating, it could be, but when really, oh, can we hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello. Is it better? Okay.
Yeah.
No, so there's always your actions, but there's always what you're saying to yourself. And there are two lanes on a highway, right? Like, what are you doing? And what are you saying about what you're doing? And then many people are doing the wrong things, which came from what you said to yourself, so you would eat the cookie. Or you're saying, eat the cookie, don't, eat the apple, but suffer, look at everybody else eating cookies, right? So like there's just what's happening. And then there's your way of dealing with it and attitude and choices. That's the lane that mostly corrupts our happiness, is what we say to ourselves when we look in the mirror, what we say to ourselves that no one's allowed to know we think.
Yeah, it's so powerful. So Lauren, people listening, what would be your 3 tips for having trouble sleeping right now? What could they do right away?
They, first of all, need to have someone that they can talk to, like me. Right? Like you need someone who's going to help you get the hell out of this mess and believes like I really believe in coaching. I really believe in an expert. I believe it. You could have a best friend who gets this, right? Or, okay. And because what you need to do is you need to start to catch your negative inner dialogue. The first thing I have a person do is purge. Puke. I've never been good at sleep. Like everything that you say, that you think it's hormones, that you think it's like every last bit of crap in your head that explains why it's not your fault and it's just going to keep happening, puke it out onto a piece of paper. Someone needs to read it. Because if you're alone with a bottle of alcohol, the odds are you'll drink it. If you're alone, there's a bottle of alcohol and then someone comes over who knows you're not going to drink you don't want to drink anymore, you don't even have to throw the bottle out.
And you know how bad it is when you're embarrassed to write it down because you think someone.
So the first thing you need to do, people, is take any subject, dating, career, money, your partner, and purge. Write everything you're mad about, everything you're not saying, everything you think you've already said, blah, blah, blah. Then the next thing you need to do, it's not their fault, it's not their responsibility yet. Don't touch the other person. Then start to trail your own inner dialogue about how you talk about that thing. I can't get a job. Look at you literally will read the news counting unemployment. You literally hunt for information. So the first thing you have to do is get what the voice in your head is doing for a living, and don't know its answer for about 2 weeks. Mark's in his 2-week cycle. And are you sleeping better already? How's it helping?
Oh yeah, much better. I mean, I tend to fall asleep better. I'll notice myself getting into that thing, and then I catch myself, and I'm just redirect my thoughts to something else, or just relax about it instead of getting anxious about it. And I used to wake up at 5, then I'd get up, and then I'd be up for the whole day, and I'm and then be in this horrible cycle. So
yes,
yeah, I find it just to simply. Also, you had me write down all the things that are on my mind every day.
Well, the other thing that happens for those of you who sleep is your issue, what happens is if you go to bed with a list of things you want to do tomorrow or the next week, and they're not written down and organized into your schedule, if you're Mark Hyman and you have 6,000 people, but you have as much to do as he does, right? Then really you could be haunted, and you want to remember shit, and you want to get to work, right? So I make someone even like me, if I make a list of things I didn't get done before, what do I need to write down so I can go to sleep and get this list tomorrow? So I make Mark do a list before he goes to bed, so nothing's haunting him and rolling around in his mind. And I make him trail his negative thoughts and start in the morning. And then for everybody, we're not dealing with this what I'm going to teach you is how to talk back to your negative inner dialogue, how to have a higher self deal with your lower self. But the first thing you really need to do is you have a lower self that's a jerk and talking all the time. And it's not your, yeah.
I mean, the good part about it is it's once you sort of out it, it's it's not embarrassing anymore. It's I get it. That's why this is happening to me. And I'm actually the one creating it, and I actually just can laugh at that stupid set of narratives that are the opposite of the life I want to create.
Yes. You want to hear a funny one I had? So I got my hair cut off, right? And then I had a hair cutter go, "Oh, you have a little bit of a mark back here. It's a little bit of psoriasis." And I was like, now, please understand, people, I don't itch. I've never itched. I still don't itch. Right? But I got told something could be wrong. And then if you know my family lineage, my sister has to take, everyone had it. It makes me itch just talking about it, Right? And I literally, from the minute he said it, it started creeping in uh-oh. And I had to make a promise to catch it and see how many times I was doing it a day and kill it, zap it. And then the way I zap things is I do the Jewish ta-ta-ta. And I have to do it out loud, so I laugh when I'm killing a negative thought, because I need to keep my sense of humor. But all of a sudden, the voice of, is it coming? What is going to happen? Maybe it comes with age. Maybe you should Google it. All of a sudden, I needed to do Google research on what? Don't worry, I can't spell it, people, and I'm not doing any Google research on it.
Oh, this is awesome. So, Lauren, this is great. This is just a taste for everybody of the kind of work that Lauren does and her group, the Handel Group, does. It's so powerful. I've sent so many of my patients, friends, colleagues, anybody I really love, I recommend they check out their work. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that they do, but the simplest thing that I really recommend is the online coaching course called Inner.U Life. And it gives you all the tools you need to get unstuck, to get wildly happy, to thrive where it matters most to you, your relationship to yourself, your career, to love, your body, time, money, whatever, wherever you want, whenever you want, right in your home. You don't have to end social distancing. You can do it right now. And you can get Inner.U, that's capital U, Life, for just $325 with my coupon. And it's a big discount. It's almost half off. You can find the link in my bio on Instagram. The website, if you want it, is hendelgroup.com/Mark Hyman. That's hendelgroup.com/Mark Hyman. And remember, this is a 3-part series. It's going to be on Instagram over the next few months. Lauren's coming on my podcast, so you should stay tuned for that. And we're going to focus on the mind and how it screws us up. On June 9th, we're having our next one in the Instagram Live series with Lauren. I want you all to come. Lauren, thank you so much for your time and wisdom and saving my ass so many times.
It's my favorite. I love you. Everyone loves you. And everyone is very happy that I keep taking such good care of you.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. Bye-bye.
Best job in town. Bye.